Hello guys, welcome my friends, and today video it will be about how to deal with Atc shortcuts and or let's say how to fly the approach from high above the profile, because sometimes it can happen that you've got a shortcut and you are high and you are with high speed and high altitude, and it's very hard to lose the altitude. We divided our video into 4 parts, okay? And the first part is going to Munich, and we will see how we can help ourselves in all the we are expecting the shortcut, okay? And the second video will be that we'll leave it like it is, and we will perform the approach from the profile if we do not modify our FMC for a shortcut prediction, okay? It's a specialty in for example Munich or Wien airport. They have slow code with the real pilots, snakes. It's AirNav arrival, so that means that there are some waypoints depicted over there, okay? So for example, I will put the ILS runway 08 left in Munich because for example from AT's information we are expected to do so, and so everything is prepared, but would like to point out how the snake looks like. It looks like this one, okay? So from Landu to Delta Mike 428, 427, 6, 25, 24, 23, and so on and so on and so on. If you look at the Lex page, in the Lex page you can see that we have all the waypoint, and there is some waypoint which is not depicted on the chart. It's my own created waypoint. It's the waypoint which is approximately overhead here, because the Magat, as you can see from the approach chart, is the final approach point in order to have 5,000 feet, okay? And now imagine that you are overhead this waypoint or this waypoint, and air traffic controller gives you a shortcut. You have speed 273. Why? Because you have speed restriction 240 below flight level 100, okay? And as you can see, you can fly level 113 and 121, for example. So that means that if you get a shortcut, you will be let's say 7,000 or 800 or 8,000 feet above the profile with a high speed, which is a very tricky situation in order to decelerate the airplane. Okay, in flight simulator it goes, but in real life, believe me, it's a huge problem for you. Okay, it's a huge problem. There are some methods how to do that, and first of all, you need to realize yourself where you are. I put it like this one. I will show you. I am putting a runway on the fixed info and DME4 and DME10. DME4 is basically because air traffic controller requires you to keep at least 160 up till 4 nautical mile, then you can slow down the airplane. While 10 nautical miles. The professional pilots are using this method at 10 nautical miles in order for situational awareness, and that means that they know, for example, if you look at the chart, okay, they know that on this circle 10 nautical miles you should be at least on flaps 5 or within clean configuration in order to be stabilized, or if you are higher on the profile you can still manage it. Okay, so that's why we are putting 10 nautical miles ring. And now we divided the video into two parts. One part I will leave it like it is without any preparation or something like that, and we can have a shortcut, for example from this waypoint direct to Magat, and we will see how it will perform. And the first part is how to prepare yourself for shortcut, because you don't have the restrictions overhead these waypoints. Okay, and air traffic controller can give you for example 2700, which is this point, without any further problems. Okay, so if you look at the chart, we have Lambda to Delta. Okay, so you can expect shortcut from this point into 2700, or let's say from this point to Magat, or into 2700 right here, because they are trying to put the traffic or let's say there are too much traffic that there are spacing within exact limitations which is depicted on the operational procedures. That means that they are separating with a 2.5 nautical miles, and when is the gap, they try to put the airplane, if they are able to comply, because air traffic controller should always ask you if you are able to comply with the restriction, and if you are able to perform the ALS approach. So the basic situation is we need to have the speed in order to go down. Okay, we can make it like we, for example, slow down the airplane and extend all your leading and trailing edge devices geared down, and then go down. It sometimes works, but sometimes it doesn't work. The basic idea is to have speed approximately 220 if air traffic controller it's okay with it, because within 220 you can put for flaps 5, because the limitations of flaps 5 is 250, and you will see that the flaps 5 are in yellow band. That means that you are good to go basically, but you have to take care of G limit. That's why our bank angle shouldn't be very or let's say much more on one or to another side, and so you should keep the airplane within the limit, within these limitations, but that's obviously okay. And we put flaps speed brakes to flight detent, and if you are still not able to decelerate, we put gear down. That's the last solution. Okay, and especially if we see that there is some traffic in common. Okay, so but today we are going to prepare for the shortcut from DME 422 into the waypoint, which they can only 2700. Okay, it's basically DME 3.9 from INME. Okay, but it's the point in which you should have the final configuration. We have so-called approach ban, and approach ban means that we are basically try to be established in IMC conditions 1000 feet above aerodrome elevation and 500 feet above aerodrome elevation in VMC conditions. So that's basically the approach ban, and that's our limitation. But for example, how we can do it, because we don't have this waypoint over there, or let's say this waypoint is right here. So we can do it like this way. I don't know if it works while we are on cruise, but we may perform to start descent, for example, level 200. Okay, vertical speed, and we can go down. And now, for example, imagine from this point to this point. Okay, so what we can do, we can press this waypoint and put it into the behind the desired waypoint, which is delta Mike 22. Okay, so put it like here, and now the airplane should calculate, but I don't know if it is working. If we don't have the V now, we will see. Maybe later on we will see if it is working or if it is not working. So for the time being, it's not calculating anymore. But anyway, the same procedure applies. For example, if you put Magat point right over DME 401, so you can easily put the Magat waypoint and put it right here, and here should be the recalculation. Okay, and the recalculation, and these numbers you put as a hard restriction right into the FMC. So we will wait a little bit just for descent phase in order to calculate it properly. So we have descent page, and we have descent 273. So basically changeover and 273, it's right over there depicted, so we can adjust the speed, and we will see how we will perform. Okay. So we are approaching the glide path. We are no longer at cruise, we are on descent. So now it works, so we will try to put it once again. So for example, from this point to Magat. Okay, so put the Magat and put the Magat directly below this waypoint, and now you can see the FNC will compute it that the best speed will be 220, and to have altitude 5,500 feet. Okay, if we wish to do another procedure, for example, from let's say, we can put it into level change. For example, from I'll put it like this one in order just to let you know, to have the better view. for example, from this point to this point. So basically put this waypoint and put it right overhead DME 422. Okay, like this one. Okay, I will maybe put it a little bit no, I put it wrong, sorry, it's my bad, my mistake. So we can make it like this one, and now this final approach fix behind DME 422, and now you can see on DME 422 we should have 1000 approximately 200 and 4000 feet. Okay, so what we can do, okay, so we can write it somewhere on the paper that we should have at least, or let's say 2010, in order to not slow the traffic. Okay, and the altitude should be 4500 feet approximately, in order to be not low on the profile. Okay, so we may erase it, and now you can put it here. Okay, so 210 or 220, or let's say 220 speed, and 4500 feet. Okay, and put it as a hard restriction right over here. But you have now problem that you have altitude constraint overhead Magat, because Magat is 5000. So this will be no longer valid for us. So in this case we have to reconsider ourselves during the shortcut and put it from this DME to Magat, and hopefully we can make it from this point. Okay, so put the Magat below the delta mic 401. So let's put the Magat right over that waypoint, and as you can see we should have a speed of 220, and we should have altitude 5400 feet. Okay, so what we can do now, we will erase it and put on this DME 401 altitude restriction 220 and 5500. Okay, right over here, and now if you can see we are 1000 feet below the profile, but if I press execute we are 7000 feet above the profile. So what we have to do is early go down. If ATC allows us to do so, we will speed up a little bit. Okay, and put the speed brakes. And we'll try to perform the approach, and we'll see how we are performing this approach. Okay, but anyway, the transition level is always given by the ATC. So in our case, I put flight level 70 because transition altitude is 5000 feet, and transition flight level, according to the QRH, should be the same if you don't have the transition layer. If you have the transition layer, it should be a little bit higher, but transition layer are always when the QNH is below 1013. Okay, but air traffic controllers has the tables how to handle with this situation. So now, as you can see, we are approaching slowly to 4000 feet. We can go to flight level 60. Alright, we have now. So as you can see, if you put higher speed on level change, put the speed brakes, you can easily catch the glide, okay. But it can happen that air traffic control suddenly gives you the speed, for example 260, okay. So I will put speed 260 and leave the speed brakes arm in order to descend to 6000 feet. Air traffic controller can give you, for example, clearance to flight level 80, okay, and that means that he may ask, we may ask the delay vectors, and right now I will show you the procedure, how it looks like, and how to handle with this situation. And you can ask the air traffic controller how many track miles. So that means that you will go to progress page, and now you can see we have 25 nautical miles ahead in order to land on the airport. So if he told us that we have 30 nautical miles, so we have to be aware of this fact and accommodate to ourselves that we for sure have the shortcut, okay? So now you can see we are approaching our computed flight path, and we can go down to, for example, to 5500 feet with the present QNH, okay. So now we are still a little bit higher on the profile, and we can decelerate the airplane, okay. So now go down with 220. Okay, so this is our waypoint, and we are going over at Magat point, so that means that air traffic control gives us 2700 in order to avoid the Magat final approach point, which is exactly 5000. We can go below, okay, so basically there's no problem. So let's go for it. So 2700 feet is pre-selected, and we put the heading select and direct, for example, like this one, okay. So and now we can put flaps 5. We can leave the speed brakes, and we'll see what happens, okay. If we are in doubt, we can make, for example, like this one, and we will see that we are exactly perfectly on the profile. So that means that we are good to go without any problems, okay. Can make it a little bit more like here, and as we can see that we are below the profile, that's a perfect signal, or let's it's good signal for us that we may start to decelerate the airplane, okay. So stop the speed brakes, okay, because we don't need it anymore, and decelerate the airplane, for example, to flight level 180 and leave the vertical speed within 500 feet. And as you can see, as we were prepared for this altitude restriction and speed restrictions, so the shortcut for us, it's a very simple and very easy way how to handle with this situation. So we can put the VOR for example, and yeah, and that's it. And if you feel that you are low on profile, you can easily adjust flap settings to flaps 2 in order to keep 180. 180 is the speed, for example, if you want to keep into the okay, so we are captured approach 080, and we have approach mode, so we are perfectly stable, we are good to go. And if we would like to keep the speed up to 40 now for DME, so we can go down with flaps 5. We can see what is the flaps 5 speed. For example, if you are able to keep this speed, if you are not able to keep the speed within flaps 5, because it makes no difference between 160 and 165, air traffic controllers doesn't know about this procedure. So, but if you would like to be precise and keep the speed up to 4 DME, so put non-standard flaps 10, okay, and for sure you'll be keeping the speed 170 or 165 approximately. So we are good to go, we are stable. And 2700, as you can see, this altitude restriction we are on the level flight, we have no problems because we were prepared on the shortcut. So our calculation was 220 knots and 5500 feet altitude. So that means basically that we can easily make it, but this is very not the rough computation, because I am not flying on VATSIM, and as we have a bench of the traffic and air traffic controllers give us any other clearances, so we have to accommodate it. But the procedure, what is depicted on the left side or right side, it doesn't matter. It belongs, or let's say it applies for you regarding to any situation. Please learn your flap limitation extension speed as well for the gear. Okay, so we have gear down, and I guess the altitude was 5000, like this one. And next we will perform another approach in which we will doesn't respect the altitude and speed restriction, and we will make the approach from profile high above. So now we are okay. Anyway, flaps 30, speed 150. Okay, so the next one will be another approach. So go around, flaps 15, gear up, positive rate. It's okay. Roll mode, for example, we have heading mode. On heading mode, we are not following standard procedure. Okay, so we can go flaps 5, and from flaps 5 we can easily go to flaps 1. And as we have flaps 1, we go to flaps up speed. We can put the vertical speed 1000 feet, couple the autopilot, and basically that's it. And so another attempt will be when we leave the airplane on the computed flight path. Okay, so basically that's it, and I will skip the video for the next sequence. Okay, so these videos are with the 4 sequence. So 2 approaches will be in here in Munich when you have no restrictions within airnav procedure, or let's say snake, and then we will make perform 2 approaches in Vienna in which we have altitude restriction and how to deal with it. Okay. Okay guys, I will reposition my myself back into the landing point, and we are currently descending, and as you can see all the snake and what we were talking before about that I will intentionally create some waypoint from which I expect the shortcut to Magat. So you can see how to create the waypoint. It's very easy. Put the source of the waypoint, put the heading, and put the distance, and put it right over the point in which you have in which you want to create the waypoint. Okay. So anyway, we are currently descending, and we will repeat the procedure. Okay, so I will go through it once again, and as you can see, I will zoom it a little bit here. So from this point, for example here, or from this point, they can, but it shouldn't be before the final approach point, but sometimes it may happen that he will make it a shortcut. So that means that how you know, because on Delta Mic 422, as you can see, you have 261 speed. It's because your flight level is still above flight level 100, and you can see flight level 1 to 7. So from flight level 1 to 7, it's 18,000 feet to lose in to catch the glide slope. Okay, if you want to avoid this situation, so you put the waypoint, expect it, for example like here the Magat waypoint, beyond the waypoint 422. Okay, and now you will see, you will recalculate it, and now you can see that on this waypoint you should have speed 210 and 5,500 feet, which is our source of information. Okay. So this is how we handle with the shortcut. Because if you let's say don't do this, I will erase it. Imagine that you have shortcut from this waypoint, or from this waypoint, which is Delta Mic 402, it should be a little bit more complicated because your speed is 261 and flight level 113. So once again, I will repeat my steps again. If you accounting for shortcut, so put the waypoint overhead to the waypoint and put the waypoint from this waypoint, the waypoint which is following. So delta mic, so magat point, which is final approach point, put it just after DME 422, and now you can see we are approximately on the profile. Okay, so I can easily put the level change, but if I put the restrictions which computes FMC for me, if I put magat directly after this waypoint, so I will erase it, and now I put 220, or it was depicted 210, but 220, 210, it doesn't matter, okay? And 5,500 feet right over here. So now you can see that we are very high on the profile. Okay, so so now we can go down and little bit lose our altitude and start to descend accordingly. So that's the procedure. Okay, and now what we can do, we can try to perform the approach, and you will see that we will be maybe unstable, maybe we will make it if we put the FMC like it is with computations without putting the restrictions right over here. Okay, and once again, this is represented 160 to 4 nautical miles, and these 10-mile rings, it's the situational awareness for pilots to be at least with flaps 5 configuration. Okay, so overhead magat final approach point, you should have speed 180 and 5 and flaps 5. Okay, so now we will perform the approach, for example, without making this procedure. Okay, so once again, if you expected the shortcut, for example from this point, DME 402, okay, so put the first waypoint you expected, you are going to be directed, so it's a magat point, so magat point DME 402, he will recalculate right now, and you have the numbers, and these numbers you can put it over here, so 210 and 5,500, and I am guaranteeing to you that on 100% sure that you won't be high on the profile. But as you can see right now, we are high above the profile. It's because we put the restriction right over here, so we need to lose. There was flight level 1, I guess 130, so 8,000 feet, and this 8,000 feet needs to depict here. Okay, so if I delete it like now, okay, execute, you can see speed 260, flight level 113, and now we are back on profile. Yes, we are back on profile, but in case of shortcut we have a problem. Okay, so this is the basic procedure how to deal with these shortcuts. Okay, Okay, and now as you can see, we are approximately near the airport. Okay, we are the airport should be for example here at 10 o'clock within I guess it should be approximately 7 nautical miles. So we are above the airport and we have flight level 160, so we can go down to flight level 60, which is a transition altitude. Okay, and now be aware of the fact, if you are not prepared like I am showing you right now, so the first things you have to do is to decelerate for the flaps retractions and put the gear down, because we will be quite high on profile. Okay, so I will try to perform it for example from this waypoint DME402. As you can see, we have computed 261 and flight level 113. Okay, so but we will give a shortcut to Magat to 5000 feet, but we will be unable to comply with this situation, I think, because it's quite high. Okay, and remember, it will be hard to decelerate the airplane, and in order to be stabilized, and we should be stabilized within 1000 feet with EMC conditions, and now we have EMC conditions. As you can see, the fog right here. So yes, we are training, but in real life they should have the bigger separations, and you are not accounting with the shortcut because you have to be stabilized. All the airplanes should be stabilized, no matter how big airport is it. Okay. So now we are clear for the ILS approach runway 01, and we may proceed with the left turn to Magat point and let's say call establish. Okay, so what we can do right now, in real life we should have the heading. Okay, but right now, just for purposes, put it into the Magat and immediately press level change and go to 5000 feet. Okay, and immediately decelerate onto flaps 230. Okay, press Q and H. Can put it with the heading like now. Okay, and remember, as we are decelerating, as we are on the flaps limit speed, we need to put the flaps limit. Okay, so right now we are 4000 feet above, and we can put flaps 1. Okay, because we are below flight level 250. So with the flaps 5 things go much more better, and as we have as you can see, we are high above the profile. So what we can do, we can put the gear down and can put the localizer, and now we have localizer, that's okay. 080, we are high above the profile, and put flaps 5. And now we should decelerate, okay? And we can put the speed brakes as well. Now you can see we are very high above the profile, but you can go down below your MCP altitude because we have glide slope indication right over here. So for example, we are approaching Magat, so we can go down, for example, 4,000 feet, okay? Now you can see we are approaching the ILS, but we cannot slow down. If the air traffic controller has some problem with it, so he will make us go around because we are unable to comply to keep it. But once again, we have glide slope captured. Immediately go down with the speed, okay? Okay, and 5,000 feet, missed approach altitude is set, and now we have below 210, so we can put non-standard flaps 10. You should have to know by your memory the flap placard, okay? What is your flap extension speed maximum? So in this case, as you can see, we are on the 8 nautical miles, and we have 160, so that's perfect. We can stop the speed brakes, and we can put flaps 5. We can put start switches to continuous and speed brakes armed. That's quite okay, and we should keep it 160 until 4 nautical miles. Okay, imagine the altitude in Munich. It's 1,500. So at 2,500 we should be stabilized. So because we are in EMC conditions, so we put into the flaps 15. Gear is down. That's okay, and we should go for flaps 25. And flaps 30, so 140. We need to make a checklist, and checklist is completed, and as you can see, we are decelerating on 4 nautical miles from 150 to 140, which is our final approach speed, and we are watching the airport, and we will see. and this was so the first one was how to perform the approach in order to be stable and to catch the glide slope from below in order to be prepared for the shortcut. The second attempt we perform when we were high on profile, how to handle with it, and now I will perform go around, reposition myself, and we will make basically the same procedure but in Vienna, and in Vienna it's slightly different. Okay, so we don't see the runway, so perform go around. Okay, positive rate of climb.
Too low, gear.
Flaps 15. Imagine that we have a heading. Okay, so that's heading select. Flaps 5. Now we have flaps up, no light, vertical speed, we should put it right over there. Autopilot the engaged command, and now we perform the go around, and now I will reposition myself into descent into the Vienna, and we will perform the same situation in Vienna. So we will make a shortcut in Wien airport. Okay. Okay. Welcome to back again. So right now we are discussing another situation which is into the Vienna. Okay. We have Linux arrival through the Nerdu, and then we have Nerdu transition because wind is blowing into runway 26. Now the situation becomes quite different. Why is it different, the situation? Because we have altitude restrictions all over here. Okay, and imagine that you have, for example, from I zoom it out, from this point you have a shortcut into this point. So there are two possibilities how to do this. If air traffic controllers is willing to give you let's say free speed, use the free speed, the best solution, and this will the first solution we will attempt, and then we will make another approach. The best solution will be to put right over this waypoint the speed restriction. So that means that is Whiskey Whiskey 981. Okay. So don't put it 240 but 220, okay? Because in this case you have room space for flap settings, okay? And you have as well the space, or let's say you may have the better deceleration. Why I'm mentioning this situation? It's because if you keep the speed, for example, 240, that means that you will be high on profile with a high speed, and it could happen that you cannot decelerate it and you may perform the go around. Okay, so we will make two attempts. First attempt will be via free speed. That means that we will decelerate it ourselves into speed 2 to 0, and once we are once the air traffic controller gives us the turn to the let's say to the ILS, not to the final approach point, but to the ILS, and he will give you some, for example, some altitude or something like that. So we have room space for directly setting the flaps and raise the speed brakes. We will see how the airplane decelerate regarding to the glide slope, and then we will accommodate to the situation. Okay. If there is air traffic in front of us, we need to put the gear down and decelerate the airplane. So, and the second attempt will be without this restriction, and we'll see how we can handle with this situation later on. Okay, so as you can see, this is the waypoint. In between these two waypoints, we can expect the shortcut. Okay. So maybe it will be better solution to have, for example, the speed 220 at Whiskey Whiskey 983. So we put there Whiskey Whiskey 983 and 220 right over here. Okay, so we have it, and basically that's it. And as you can see, if we expect the shortcut, we have to lose 3000 feet. Okay, I know that what I am now talking about, many of people are asking her or himself that what is he talking about, we can make it without any further problems. Yes, on Flight Simulator you can make it, but in real life with real airplane, if we have full airplane especially, it's very hard to decelerate comparing to the Flight Simulator. Okay, so basically that's the situation, and we are proceeding to the Lanux point, and we should have overhead Lanux point flight level 150 or below. So I put there a flight level 150, and from Lanux we have to decelerate, or let's say we can go down to or we can put it direct to Lanux. We can go down to 6000 feet because in Wien transition altitude is 5000 feet, and they have always transition layers. So that means that if you can see on the map depicted that there is 6000 feet altitude restrictions, that means that you will hardly have flight level 60 in Wien. Okay, so you will have transition level, for example 80 or 90. I will check what I put right over there. I put transition level 80. Okay, so it's completely understandable because in Wien we have transition layers. Okay, so that means that transition level is always given by the ATC, and it's calculating. Okay. Some airports do not need a transition layer between transition altitude and transition flight level, so that means between departing to make a room space between departing traffic and arriving traffic, but some of the airports has this transition layer, especially the bigger airports. And some airports has basically transition altitude the same as the transition flight level, simply because they don't need it. But I'm not going to talk what ATC, what are the ATC procedures, because this is the question for the air traffic controller. So once again, the first attempt in the win will be our self speed. Okay, so that means that if I am expecting the shortcut right over here, so it's good to have the slower speed on this waypoint in order to have the shortcut and to lose 3000 feet of altitude. Okay, and to have the room space for flap settings and raising the speed brakes, and I am pretty sure that the airplane won't have any problems with deceleration within this way. Second attempt will be if the air traffic controller gives us the exact speed, and then he would like to perform for us the shortcut. Okay. So I hope you like my explanation with the Munich shortcuts and how we can handle with this situation, and you can see that we can make it if you are aware how to do it. You can make it, but if you are high and with a higher speed, the only solution most of the time in a real airplane is just put the gear down and try to let's say slower the airplane for at least flap retractions. That's why I'm always talking to you, learn this procedure, the flap settings, scheduled and limitations which are depicted with the Boeing, because it's these limitations are very useful for you to know it. For example, I know by my memory that I have 250 for flaps 1 and 2. And for flaps 5 I have as well 250, but I have the G margin, so that means that I am limited with the G. That means I cannot perform the, let's say, the quite high turns with high roll rate and so on. So basically the Boeing has very well the range speed, okay, between the flap extension speed maximum and the lowest speed, okay, for particular flap setting. And as I know that when I am below 210 knots, I can use the flaps 10, okay, with the speed brake still. But if you are beyond the flaps 10, which is 195 knots, the speed brakes are no longer effective. So that means that I rather use the gear like the speed brakes, but you have to use the gear, otherwise you have GPW as a warning, okay. So basically that's it, and we can make it a little bit faster So we can put, for example, whiskey 87. So as you can see, we can go to 1900. Okay, so he or she should make us the shortcut from Nerdu, and it's Nerdu, it's this one. Okay, can make easily shortcut here, right here to 1900 feet. Okay, so that's basically no problem. Okay, so go direct to whiskey 985 in order to save the time. Okay, imagine that we have, yeah, but it's not over there depicted. The wind specialty is if they have, the air traffic controller has the gap between two airplanes, they can fit another airplane, so he will always ask you if you are able to comply and make it with a left or right turn regarding to the air nav transition you are flying, in order to stable the approach between these two airplanes, in order to get rid of you. So basically this is in Vienna. So as I said before, we have we perform how to make or let's say how to prepare for a shortcut in Munich when there is no restrictions. Okay, and how to perform the approach when you are high above the profile. But always when you are high on the profile, you need to go with the speed a little bit down in order to can put desired flap settings, but you have to keep the speed. So the air traffic controller must be aware, if I give to this airplane the shortcut, which is for example making him that he is 5000 feet above the profile, so he won't lose altitude without the speed. Okay, it's quite complicated to make it. So for those of you who would like to know the flap speed, please learn this table. It's not so complicated. As you can see, for flaps 1 we have 250 knots, for flaps 2 we have 250 knots as well, for flaps 5 250 but with the margin, okay, G limit. With flaps 10 we have 210 knots, with flaps 15 it's 200 knots. I was a little bit wrong. Boeing 737-700 has 195 knots, okay, but anyway. And regarding to another flap settings, you should have for flaps 25 190, and believe me, with the speed 190 and flaps 25 press level change, you can go down like a hell. Okay. It's amazing when I am looking on the Google Maps. What is the difference between when you are flying over the Austria and Czech Republic? In Czech Republic, you basically see the forests and lakes and everything, but in Austria you can see the fields because they are growing the vegetable over there, and it's basically but just this part of Austria, okay? I'm not talking about the Alps, okay? So we are going to 6,000 feet, so we will transition altitude, so keep it like this one. And especially in Wien there are very professional air traffic controllers, so they have special attentions for you, so that means they are strictly adhering to vacate. For example, we as a medium jet airplane, we should vacate via if you are landing on runway 34 via Bravo 9er, okay? And if you vacate beyond the Bravo 9er, they are strictly, let's say, adhering to the procedures, so they will write report on CAA on you, and you can easily get on I don't know how to say in English, but it costs your company, for example, 10,000 euro, okay? So all the pilots should be aware of the general part of the Jeppesen, what are the specialties of these airports, okay? And at the night they are strictly adhering the night restriction SIDs, so that means that for example, you have another waypoint and they are using another SID for you, because this SID is for nighttime operations. So they have quite a professional right over the Vienna, from my point of view. As well the Munich, as well everywhere, but I'm talking that they are strictly and very strictly adhering to the procedures. So if you are on the some spot when there are photographers and all the peoples, that means that if you can see, if you are located on these spots, and you can see, for example, the main runway for landing, it's in most cases runway 29er. You can see the airplanes. I am calling it Christmas tree, because you can see the lights and lights and lights, like a chain of the lights, and that means that they are really doing quite a well job regarding to airplane separations and to keep their speeds, okay? So they are using reduce horizontal and vertical separation very well. So there are 2.5 nautical miles between each airplane. So if there is the gap, for example, 7 miles between two airplanes, so you can easily put but they have to ask you if you are able to comply with their let's say not the restriction, but with their requirements. So now we are approaching this point, and somewhere over here we'll make a shortcut. Okay, somewhere over here. It's hard to me to make a shortcut for ATC because I am not a traffic controller. I don't know how it really works, that they put the heading and altitude, but they are fully aware, so it's just to imagine. Okay. So now we can prepare our airplane, so we will decelerate. Into 220. And again, these represent 4 nautical mile ring, and this is representing 10 nautical mile ring. Okay. So now we can go below the 6,000 feet, because as you can see on the chart, and they are using it, so you should keep 6,000 feet, okay? Or let's say 6,000 at or above. But I will highly recommend it to keep the 6,000 feet, not to be higher above. Okay. Always when I am flying to Vienna in real life, I will put 6,000 right over here and fly with a constant level flight. Okay. Yes, you have to use the continuous descent technique, but well, sometimes it's not good idea and sometimes it's not working. Okay, so now imagine that we have to descend to 1900, okay, and make it with the heading and go for the ILS approach, okay, with this heading. So what you are doing, so press the level change immediately, okay, press the flaps 1, flaps 2, you have to account that you have the traffic in front of you, so you won't be so hard. And as you can see, this is DME4 and we are cleared via this heading before the final approach fix or final approach point. So it will be better for us. For example, if you are not aware of the situation, you can put there, for example, final approach fix like this one. Sorry. And you can see we are high above the profile, so we have to go down with speed brakes and flaps 10. Okay. We have to somehow lose the altitude. Okay, now we have a localizer captured. We can put the approach mode. We can put the 339er. That's it. And as we have glide slope captured, immediately go down with the speed. Okay. Once 60, you can see we are below 210, so flaps 10 immediately, and we are approaching 4 miles, so we need to decelerate quite more, so we can put gear down and flaps 15, and now we need to stall the speed brakes because we are not allowed to use them, but we can arm the speed brakes, put the start switches to continuous, and we can decelerate much more. And as you can see, we have approximately we have approximately 4 nautical miles, so we should be stabilized. So miss approach altitude 5000 is right over there. We can put flaps 25 in order to decelerate, and 140 is for flaps 30, so 140, and now we are okay. We are stable, and we are stable within 1000 feet. Okay. So we will be stable with an approach band which is 1000 feet in IMC conditions and 500 feet with the VMC conditions. Okay. So we are good to go. We can perform the go around, and we'll try to let's say make this situation with the speed problems. Okay. So I will make it like once again. So press toga. Positive ready gear up. Please disregard too low gear because Okay, I will put flaps up. We can press the heading select, for example. We have radar vectors, press autopilot and engage command with MCP speed, and we can reduce our vertical speed. And now I reposition myself somewhere overhead, some air nav point. Okay, so basically see you on the next approach. Okay. So now we have repositioned ourselves, and now we keep the speed and altitude. Okay. And situation will be much more complicated because we have high speed. Okay. So it will be the things go much quicker, and we need to react ourselves in order to catch the glide slope and decelerate the airplane. Maybe it will be no success for us. And the reason why we are keeping 6,000 feet and we are not doing the continuous descent technique is because from Linux you should be flight level 150 or below, and then you have altitude restriction 6,000 feet. All the snakes, it's roughly too much track nautical miles to go. That's why the pilots are always asking how many track miles I can expect it. So he will prepare himself or herself for the shortcut. Okay. And it's hardly to make a continuous descent technique when you have such a very shallow descent. Okay, so this is the explanation why we are keeping 6,000. And once again, we have speed restricted on 240 below flight level 100, so we'll keep the speed. And now we will have the same situation. That means that we are going directly to this waypoint, okay, which is on 4 nautical miles. We should have 1,900. So the air traffic controller give us 1,900 feet. So prior to the final approach fix. So we will see how we can handle with this situation. But I'm pretty sure that this is quite a very complicated situation. How to decelerate airplane and how to lose the altitude when you have higher speed and altitude restriction as well. And believe me that in a real airplane it's much more complicated. In flight simulator the physics are quite stable, but in a real airplane, imagine that you have full airplane, so that means to convert the kinetic energy to potential it's very hard, and the decelerate airplane, especially when you have tailwind condition, it's really hard to do. But for us the weather is pretty fine, so we are trying to be stable within the 500 feet about aerodrome elevation. Okay, and another point is we don't have the traffic. So if we have traffic, so we can easily make a go around because we cannot decelerate it. Okay, so if we are a success and we will decelerate it, is because there is no traffic in front of us. Because if there is any traffic in front of us, we will be close, so close that the tower gives us, or let's say approach gives us to perform the go around without any further problems. Okay, so we will prepare 1900. I promised that I make this video within Czech, Slovak and Polish language because of my friends, but I need to go back because I was not flying for 6 or 7 years, and I have ICAO English level 5, and as you can see it's hardly level 5. It's maybe level 2 or 1. Okay, so so I need to improve with it in English, so I decided by myself that I will make the video in English language. Okay. So now imagine that we have to make a turn. For example, air traffic controllers give us this turn, okay, this heading, and we are clear for the LS approach. So first of all, heading select, immediately level change, immediately gear down, flaps 5, I don't have the flaps 10, I guess so. Okay. And now we are going down, okay? Like hell. And as well, if we could put the final approach fix right over here, we can see that we have 500.
Caution, terrain.
We are okay within the profile. That means that immediately starting to decelerate the airplane, okay?
Caution, terrain.
And immediately put it, for example, to vertical speed, 500 speed, 500 feet per minute, or maybe less, and now we can perform the localizer. Okay, so flaps 10. And now you can see that if you immediately put the gear down, flaps 10, and I forget about to use the speed brakes, but with the speed brakes we'll go much more down like hell, okay? So it's basically this situation. So we have localizer captured, approach, 339er, 39er and speed 160, okay, because we have to keep it into 4 dm nautical miles, and we are pretty stable. We have glide slope captured, so means the approach altitude 5000 feet is set. That's okay. So we need to put flaps 15 on the speed brakes, like this one, in order to decelerate to speed 160 up to 4 nautical miles. And as you can see right now, if there is some airplane in front of us, that's okay. So always when you are in doubt, or you feel that you will be high on profile, okay, so always put the gear down, and it solves your situation very well. Okay, flaps 40, and now we are stable and we are good to land. So basically this was let's say 4 videos in one. 4 in 1, so that means 2 approaches, 2 in Munich and 2 here in Wien. And as you can see, we can manage it, and we can easily handle with the situation. Okay. So that's it. I hope you liked the video. I will perform another go around because I like it. So go around, flaps 15, positive right gear up.
Too low, gear. Too low,
I will
gear.
put heading select
Too low, gear.
like this one. That's okay. We can go directly to flaps 5. From flaps 5 to flaps 1. And as we are flaps 1, we can go to flaps up just to practice the missed approach procedure, and we can couple the autopilot, and basically that's it, climbing to flight level to 5,000 feet. Yeah, that's it. So I hope you liked the video, and I hope now you will learn how to handle with the shortcut. So, for a short summary, there are 2 ways how to do it. One way is when you have unrestricted, let's say, airspace, or you have unrestricted arrival. So that means that you can adjust your speed and altitude you wish like to be on the point when you expected the shortcut. And another point of view is like in here in Vienna, that you have constant altitude restriction, and now you can handle with the situation. If you have free speed, slow down, okay, and wait for the shortcut, and then put flaps 5 and speed brakes, and you should capture the glide slope without any problems. And when you are capturing the glide slope, and so you immediately start to decelerate the airplane with all your devices, like flaps 10, and then gear down, flaps 15, and so on. If you have speed restrictions from ATC controller like 240, you will need to go down like hell. So that means that immediately flaps 5, what I forget was to put the speed brakes, gear down immediately, okay, until you catch the glide slope. As you catch the glide slope, again the same procedure, quickly decelerate with the speed, and flaps 10 again. When the flaps 10, it's flaps 15, and you will see how stable are you. But basically the procedure applies that within IMC conditions you should have respect your approach band. That means that you have to be stable at 1000 feet about aerodrome elevation. In VMC conditions you should be stable at 500 about aerodrome elevation. And this was roughly just the flight simulator, how it looks like, and it doesn't have the traffic, okay. So if we have traffic and you are not properly decelerating, so that means that for you to go around, otherwise you will be very close to another airport, and the collision system of air traffic controller gives him the advice for you to perform the go around. So I hope you liked the videos much, and see you next time soon. Bye bye.